kwa executive arm ya assembly aje azungumze kwa niaba yenu. Ketini, asante sana.
Asante mheshimiwa. Mama mjane, mama wetu, my brothers Adrian, Malvin, Ryan and Arnold, wajumbe wetu kiongozwa na Senator Khalwale and Mheshimiwa Wamboko Milemba, who is representing the Speaker of the National Assembly today, watu wetu wote wa Kakamega, Vihiga, Busia, Trans Nzoia na hapa Nairobi. Good afternoon. Mimi naitwa Njoroge, ni katibu wa Bunge la Kitaifa na niko hapa kuongea kwa niaba ya wafanyikazi wa Bunge la Kitaifa. Mwenzangu Jeremiah Nyegenye ambaye ni Clerk wa Senate hayuko na sisi leo, alikuwa ametumwa safari nje ya nchi. Kwa hivyo leo nawakilisha yeye pia na wafanyikazi wa National Assembly. Tuko na huzuni sana, haswa sisi parliamentary family, kwa vile Mheshimiwa Malulu alikuwa sio mjumbe tu, lakini pia alikuwa ni kama staff wa bunge. Kuambia hivyo Mheshimiwa Senator, many times, and allow me to speak English, many times in parliament, particularly the top leadership, there are difficult moments that come which require a lot of consultation. And we always, as administration, walk to certain members of parliament to seek their views, to engage them outside the political limelight. And Mheshimiwa Injendi was one of those that we would walk to. Sometime in 2014, Mheshimiwa Injendi was a new member. He walked in, elected from a small party, I think it was MDP that time. And during that period, you remember between 2011 and 2014, there were a lot of terrorist attacks in Kenya. Largely when Kenya entered Somalia to engage in Operation Linda Inchi, we experienced a lot of attacks, grenades. There were our people who were killed in Garissa in Akware. A bus was stopped, 28 people were shot. Then the Westgate attack. It became important for the government to sit down and see what can we do to reduce these incidences. A bill was introduced in 2014, a year after Honorable Injendi had joined Parliament. He was not the most experienced. There were others who were more experienced than him. But a bill was introduced proposing to amend different pieces of legislation to make it less difficult for the government to administer security. It became very unpopular. If you remember, it was called the Security Laws Amendment Bill. Politicians ran away with it. It's going to reduce privacy. It's going to reduce media freedom. Itafanya polisi waanze kufanya surveillance and all that. It had about 109 clauses. And the government was determined to push it through because it was felt that it was the right thing to do. In December, because the bill was published, I remember around December 9 or December 10, we were to pass it by 20th, before Christmas. So we were called from recess on December 18th, or thereabout, or December 14th, for it to be passed on 18th. Honorable Duale, who was the leader of majority party, was taking very strong positions, led by his deputy then, Honorable Ichongwa and others, had very strong positions. The minority side, led by Honorable Nyenze, the late Honorable Midiwo, Honorable John Bandi, now a CS, also were taking other sides, largely political. I was the deputy director for legislative services then, and therefore responsible for collating all amendments and engaging with members who have amendments. I saw a man with a long rosary walking into my office to engage. Rarely were we engaging with first-time members because this was a complicated bill. But Injendi walked to my office and asked, Njoroge, politics aside, there are very many attacks in our country at the moment. Is this a good thing for the country? I asked him, do you want to introduce amendments? He said, no, I want to understand the bill beyond politics. So he asked that we arrange a meeting with security personnel largely from the intelligence sector, to take him through the bill. Allow me to pause for a minute. Right? Good. So I'm seeing that I can continue. So he asked that we arrange a meeting, and we arranged a meeting with people from security sector. He was not alone. We arranged with 3 other members who I will not mention, and they took him through the bill. Later, on the 3rd day, it was around 17th, he came and said, there are things I agree with in this bill, but there are 3 or 4 that I don't agree with. But I don't want to engage in fights, political fights. How can you assist me to ensure that these things do not pass, but the rest, so about 90% of it, pass? So we arranged a meeting with him, between him and Duale, leader majority that time, so that he can convince Duale off the camera, off politics, of popularity, to drop that what was contentious. And Duale agreed with him. He said, because you have not confronted me on the floor, and you have approached me in a peaceful manner, I will drop the 3 clauses. You wanted about 5? Duale said, I will drop the 3 clauses. But please support me in the rest for the good of the nation. And I think that is what Mheshimiwa Malulu was. He had the ability to drop that what is popular, carve a peaceful and calm approach to solutions. Thereafter, when it came to passage, you remember what happened, Honorable Senator? It was passed amidst chaos. And on that day, I remember, again, it was on 18th of December, there was serious chaos in the House, water running around, papers being thrown right, left, and center. Honorable Malulu Injendi was seated in a corner holding his rosary. And when dust settled, I asked him, Mheshimiwa, what was it? He said, I was simply praying for the nation and hoping that whatever passes is for the good of the nation. It came to pass, it is law now. And probably we attribute part of the calmness that followed thereafter to the passage of that law. And that was the Malulu Injendi we will miss. Thereafter, because of the character we saw in him, he became one of those pillars that, as administration of Parliament, we would consult off the camera, off politics, whenever there are difficult decisions that need to be made. That is a man we have lost today. He has a number of other proposals that were there before the House. Remember, I think he was also a very good family man, because one of the first pieces of legislation he introduced was a motion to require the registrar of political parties to reduce, the registrar of marriages to reduce the cost of registration of marriages and to ensure that they have offices in every county. He indicated to us that he wanted to make it less difficult for people to get married, and for those who want to get married, to do it in church. That's the Malulu Injendi we have lost. He had a piece of legislation for the elderly, because he had a bill which was very popular towards the end of last year. He was proposing that because our elders in the villages do a very good job being a nexus between the national government and the grassroots outside politics, why don't we legislate and recognize them formally and pay them a small stipend? It was very popular last year. It passed in second reading. But we have lost Honorable Injendi before it can become law. It's awaiting committee of the whole House. Honorable Milemba and colleagues, over to you with respect to what to do with it. Maybe it was a canon that Moses was not going to step in, but was going to lead his people towards. Could possibly get another member to step in his shoes to complete that journey to that canon. Thank you very much for listening. May God bless you. May God rest the soul of Honorable Injendi well.
Thank you. You will realize that we have allowed the clerk some latitude of time because he's the one who has been working with the Honorable Malulu on many things. On behalf of IPOA